Author Cliff Fadiman once said, "When you reread a classic, you do not see more in the book than you did before, you see more in you than there was before." Classic literature has always been the cause of many groans within a classroom. I know because I was there myself when I was in middle school and even high school. I found the themes and authors to be so distant from my personal life and decided to ignore the genre altogether. The vocabulary was difficult, and oftentimes the authors were alluding to things I had never even read before. Sure, I read Shakespeare and Homer and Melville in high school, but it was only because my teachers assigned it in class. There was no joy for me in reading classic literature. This might be the truth for many of you. It took me many years to finally find the joy and the importance of classic literature. It wasn't until I found the right author and the right story that appealed to me and my interests that I understood the power of it. That author was Charles Dickens. My sophomore English class had been assigned A Tale of Two Cities, and I fell in love with that novel before the first chapter was over. My love for that author and novel stemmed into a blooming madness of reading classic literature, and I've never looked back. I want to attempt to provoke that feeling in you today, or at least put that idea into your mind. Perhaps some of you are still groaning, even by the thought of classic literature, but I am here to change your mind. At this moment, you might be asking yourself, what is the real importance of classic literature? Why are we still studying texts that were written 500 years ago? And I agree that there are many beautiful modern novels out there in the world, but all those ideas and themes and styles had to start somewhere. Literature, and especially classic literature, is the essence of life. It is a written word that allows us to express and relate to each other. Literature is the narrative of the human experience, and it binds every single one of us. Literature and words are what separates humans from the rest of the animal kingdom. It is our ability to take our life experience and illustrate them into beautiful prose and poetry. One of the first things that a child learns to do is read, and I am here to say that it can not simply stop there. In the past 10 years, there has been a great decline in adult literacy. According to a survey given by the National Endowment of the Arts, less than half of the adult American population reads literature. I am here to urge a change in the perspective of reading, and of reading classics especially. Reading classics has many benefits. First of all, it can improve your vocabulary greatly. When reading classics, you'll come across many words that are not commonly known or used. When you strengthen your vocabulary, you set yourself apart. It simply adds more tools to your education and scholarly tool belt. A larger vocabulary will make your speech more eloquent, and you will be able to communicate with precision and give a perception of higher intelligence in work and social situations. Secondly, classic literature can give you fresh ideas and perspectives. I understand that some of these texts are hundreds of years old, and the authors have been dead for centuries, but these concepts are still new and very relevant. These texts are so inspirational if you just give them a try. There is a reason that they have survived all of these years. Their ideas and themes are infinite and universal. Most people are reading blogs and bestsellers, but if you take the time to discover what's inside these classic novels, then you can separate yourself from those generic ideas, and you can find something very original. Classics can freshen your mind and enhance your creativity. Lastly, I believe that reading classic literature can give you great historical perspective. When reading and analyzing literature, you're not only looking at words and literary devices, you are looking at a time in history and its importance to the world. For example, through the words of Charles Dickens, we see Victorian England through his novel A Christmas Carol. Along with the oppression of the workers and the conditions under which they lived, we learn about holiday traditions and medical treatments at the time. A contrast with our current world of cell phones and computers and modern medicine, giving the reader, you, a clear perspective on the world of that time. Classic literature opens a lifetime of thinking. It remains as an active record of the human experience. It is our history and art, and it puts life in terms larger than ourselves, and yet strikes us at the very core of our being. Reading classic literature creates a humanity in us that hasn't been there before, and it makes the things around us more relevant than they ever have been before. So I urge you to take the time and discover the beautiful mystery that is classic literature. I know there is a novel or an author out there waiting for you to explore. If anything, it makes you look more educated and sophisticated, and at least gives you clever conversation for your next party. So please, dust off those historical and compelling texts and give it a try. Thank you.